It seems things have started to move faster than I expected. Thank you, Henry. Without you, I probably wouldn't have saved my skin.
You're welcome. I know how it feels to be up to your neck in shit with no one to pull you out.
I'm sorry you've been dragged into my mess. It shouldn't be your problem.
What's this all about?
It's complicated. And I understand that it might be hard to believe, but today you fought on the side of justice.
I've no idea what you're talking about.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Hanakin Hare of Zalush.
The nobleman?
I used to be. My house became sadly impoverished, and I became the master huntsman at Talmberg.
Gamekeeper turned poacher? I see. That's quite a transformation.
Nicholas gave me no choice.
What happened to your family?
My father lost his influential friends and the money with them. After his death, I inherited only his debts. There was nothing for it but to sell off all our possessions, see to my sister's welfare, and manage as best I could.
That sounds a rough deal.
Believe it or not, I never cared for the life of a nobleman. I spent my youth running free, hunting in the woods.
What happened between you and Nicholas?
I was falsely accused of murder. Henry of Lipa visited Talmberg, and the morning after the banquet in his honor, one of his men was found dead.
And didn't they have any cause to suspect you?
That's just it, they did. At the banquet, I got into a fight with the man.
I know Sir Hanish of Lipa. Was Sir Henry his father?
Indeed. He was on his way to Ratai to take charge of the fiefdom for young Sir Hans Capon.
Why did you get into a fight with him?
The fall of the House of Zalush was the work of the Lords of Lipa, and that fellow took great delight in reminding me of it.
And then what?
Nicholas began to pull strings. Several people came forward as witnesses to say they saw me with the fellow later that night.
Why would he have done that?
He wanted rid of me. We were both in love with the same lass, you see, and Margaret is his wife today. But back then, there was no question which of the two of us would win her. I was the huntsman of noble blood, and Nicholas was just plain Nick. Her father's preference was clear.
Do you know who did kill the man?
No, he was found in a ditch with his neck broken. He could have tripped and fallen, all on his own.
And that never occurred to anyone?
It did. But some people swore they'd seen us jostling on the drawbridge. Of course, that was Nicholas's work.
What did Margaret think of you?
She took me for a fool. She only had eyes for Nicholas, but I didn't see it then. In the end, she could have saved me.
How?
She could have told the truth. After the banquet, I was with her. But when they asked her, she said she hadn't seen me that night.
How did you get out of it?
What leads you to imagine I did?
Your head's still on your shoulders, so you must have escaped somehow.
I'm alive. But my name and my family's name has been dragged through the mud. For me, that's worse than the sentence waiting for me.
If you say so. But you still managed to get away.
Well, it's true. I had the good fortune to escape from the dungeon.
From the Talmberg dungeon? That can't be done, can it?
It's not too hard when the lord of the castle himself helps you escape.
So, Divish set you free? From his own dungeon?
He couldn't offend Henry, so he had to lock me up. But he trusted me. We were friends, after all. He led me out of the castle in the night. I was given a good horse, and in a couple of days I was in Silesia. And that was the end of it. At least until now.
And how did it happen?
It's a long story.
I've got time to listen.
All right. But for you to understand, I have to start from the beginning. I was born as Hannikin Hare of Zalush, the eldest son of Sidney of Zalush. My house became sadly impoverished, and I became the master huntsman at Talmberg.
Gamekeeper turned poacher. I see. That's quite a transformation.
Nicholas gave me no choice.
What happened between you and Nicholas?
I was falsely accused of murder. Henry of Lipa visited Talmberg, and the morning after the banquet in his honor, one of his men was found dead.
And didn't they have any cause to suspect you?
That's just it. They did. At the banquet, I got into a fight with the man.
And then what?
Nicholas began to pull strings. Several people came forward as witnesses to say they saw me with the fellow later that night.
Why would he have done that?
He wanted rid of me. We were both in love with the same lass, you see, and Margaret is his wife today. But back then, there was no question which of the two of us would win her. I was the huntsman of noble blood, and Nicholas was just plain Nick. Her father's preference was clear.
How did you get out of it?
What leads you to imagine I did?
Your head's still on your shoulders, so you must have escaped somehow.
I'm alive, but my name and my family's name has been dragged through the mud. For me, that's worse than the sentence waiting for me.
If you say so. But you still managed to get away.
Well, it's true I had the good fortune to escape from the dungeon.
An interesting story.
I can't complain of boredom. The question is, will anyone believe me?
This is one of the most insane stories I've heard lately.
That doesn't surprise me.
But something tells me you're speaking the truth, Hannikin Hare.
Thank you. I didn't expect to find anyone who believed me.
Trust me, after what I've seen lately, not much could surprise me. So, what are you up to?
Working out how to get Nicholas's confession.
And how would you do that exactly?
Simple. I'll have him sign it. I've had the priest in Janowitz write me up a parchment. When Nicholas signs it, he'll admit to everything written down there.
How do you want to force him to do that?
He won't have a choice, or rather he will have, between his wife Margaret and the job of huntsman.
I'm not following this at all.
It's plain enough. We'll kidnap Margaret. That's to say, you'll kidnap Margaret while I distract Nicholas. If he wants to see her again, he won't have any choice.
I like that. No beating around the bush.
My thoughts exact.
But that confession's just a scrap of parchment with writing on it. What will happen to him after that?
That scrap of parchment is for Sir Divish and the provincial court. But we'll be generous to Nicholas and let him leave in peace before we deliver the confession to Talmberg.
So Nicholas will go free, and you'll clear your name?
Hopefully.
So what do I need to do?
That horn you picked up from Nicholas should help us. I'm sure Nicholas will recognize its sound from quite far off. I'll lure him out of the lodge at dawn.
And I'm meant to kidnap his wife while he's gone?
Of course, it would be best if she went with you voluntarily, but if not, you'll just have to drag her with you.
I don't know. What if there's trouble?
That's why I'm sending you. I trust you. But whatever happens, Margaret mustn't be hurt. When you get her, bring her here. Then we can decide what's next.
All right.
Don't forget, tomorrow at dawn.
Henry, do you have a moment? Can I do anything to help?
Aye. It's fucked up, Henry. I'm out of here. I have to disappear, see?
And you're just gonna leave the hair in it?
I'm a poacher, a thief, and a murderer. But he's fighting for his honor, don't you see? If he pulls it off, I'll just be a hindrance to him.
You never know what might happen. He may need you yet. But so be it. Not so fast. You're right in it with all the rest of us.
And who's gonna stand in my way? You? Look, I've done some poaching for Hare, but he's not worth getting killed for. You'll see it my way if you've got any sense.
That's for me to decide. So off you go. What can I do?
I need some help. I've got a pretty good stash at home. I'm saving it for a rainy day.
Are you afraid they're watching your house?
Seems likely.
All right, but where is this cast iron reserve of yours? Or is it more like a gold reserve?
I wish. Now listen. It's hidden in a tankard in my cottage, hanging on the wall by the hearth.
Good hideout. That wouldn't have occurred to me. All right, I'll go and take a look for you.
Thank you very much. So, have you got it?
I have it for you. A pretty necklace. Your mother's, was it?
That old whore didn't leave me as much as a piss pot. No, I pinched this from Lady Ophelia when I was a groom at Stanberg. Thanks. The coin I get for this will keep me going for a while. Maybe we'll meet again one day.
Who knows?
Good evening.
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
The thing is, every time I spoke to someone about Hare, they always ended up talking about you.
But I don't.
You aren't to blame for anything, is that it? Well, I am willing to believe you, but you do know more than you're telling, and I need to hear it.
Very well. You're right. And what would you like to know about Hare?
How were things between you and Hare back then?
There was nothing between us. Hannikin Hare impressed my father with all his talk of noble blood. But I couldn't stand him, and I didn't want to marry him. And then it made no odds after he ran away.
So you didn't want him? I only asked because I've heard differently.
That's village talk. Of course folk gossip. Mostly they just want to hurt Nicholas.
Did Hare really commit the murder?
God in heaven, how should I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That remains to be seen. What did you talk about in the woods with Hannikin Hare?
I see Betty's mouth's been busy.
Don't blame her. I had to work hard to weasel it out of her. Now tell me.
Oh, all right. Well, it seems Hannikin Hare's exile has addled his brain. He told me he'd go off with me, that he still loves me and nonsense like that.
And what about you?
What do you mean? I was so shocked, I couldn't even scream.
Is that all he told you?
He said if I change my mind, I'm to hang a garland of forget-me-nots on the house and wait for him at that place of ours.
Where was it you saw him exactly?
I wish I could tell you. The whole thing was like a fever dream. I almost got lost trying to get out of the forest. Even if I remembered, it wouldn't be any use to you. Hannikin Hare moves through the forest like a ghost. He knows every tree root off by heart.
I want you to hang that garland on the lodge.
But I don't want to go anywhere with him.
You don't have to go anywhere. But tell me, where's that secret meeting place of yours?
On the way to Ujits. Back then, we used to meet by the great big beech tree, right next to the wayside shrine. There's a lovely view there, you see.
And what time will he be waiting there for you?
At dawn. What are you going to do to Hare?
Never you mind. The main thing is it will all get sorted out. And that's all that matters, isn't it?
I suppose so. Very well, then. I'll hang the garland for you.
That'll be everything.
God be with you.
I'm guessing Nicholas won't be joining us. Who the devil are you?
I thought you wanted to meet up with Margaret.
Fortunately, I'm not that much of a fool anymore. I was hoping I'd tempt Nicholas out of his lair. But let's get to the point. Who are you? And what are you doing here?
My name is Henry, and I work for the Master Huntsman.
So are you going to arrest me?
I am?
All I ask is that you listen to me first.
Why should I listen to you?
Because if you care about justice, you're after the wrong man.
Anyone can say that.
And that's precisely why the accused should get a proper hearing.
Let me guess. You're gonna tell me you're innocent.
I wouldn't presume. I've been poaching on the Divish estate, and I'll take the punishment I deserve. But the crime I was nearly strung up for, that one I didn't commit.
I've no idea what you're talking about.
Let me introduce myself. My name is...
The nobleman?
My house became sadly
Gamekeeper turned poacher.
Nicholas gave me no choice.
What happened to your
My father lost his influence. There was nothing for it but to say...
That sounds a rough deal.
Believe it or not,
What happened between you and Nicholas?
I was falsely accused of murder. Henry of Lipa visited town...
And didn't they have any...
That's just it.
I know...
Indeed.
Why did you get into a fight?
The fall of the House of Zah...
And then what?
Nicholas...
Why would he have done that?
He wanted rid of me. We were both in love with the same lad. But back then...
Do you know... And that never occurred?
It did. But some people swore they'd seen us jostling on...
What did How?
She could have told the truth.
How did you get out of it?
What leads you to him?
Your head's still on your shoulders, so you must...
I'm alive. But my name and my...
If you say so.
Well, it's true. I had the good fortune.
From the... So, Divish set you free?
He couldn't offend Henry, so he had to lock me up. And that was the end of it.
And how did it... I've got time to listen.
All right. But for... My house became...
Gamekeeper...
Nicholas gave me no choice.
What happened...
I would...
And didn't...
That's...
And then what? Why would he have done...
He wanted... But back...
How did you get...
What leads you to him?
Your head's still on your shoulders.
I'm alive. Well...
An interesting...
I can't...
Even if I believed you, there's no proof. It all happened a long time ago.
I know. But if I didn't believe in my own innocence, I'd have to be crazy to have done what I did.
Why?
If I truly were guilty, why would I risk coming back to Bohemia? I could have died in peace as a rich man in the pay of the Jagiellonians. Only a fool would come back.
Nicholas took everything you had, regardless of your guilt or innocence. I'd say you have more than enough cause to want revenge.
I'm not like him. Anyway, you're right. I don't have any proof of my innocence. All I can give you is my word.
This is one of the most insane stories I've heard lately.
That doesn't surprise me.
Something tells me you're speaking the truth, Anakin Hare.
Thank you. And if you want to help me, come to the old mine gallery in Broad Woods.
I'll be there.
I have a plan, but I need some help.
So, what are you up to?
Working out how to get Nicholas's confession.
And how would you do that exactly?
Simple. I'll have him sign it. I've had the priest in Janowitz write me up a parchment. When Nicholas signs it, he'll admit to everything written down there.
How do you want to force him to do that?
He won't have a choice, or rather he will have, between his wife Margaret and the job of huntsman.
Could you stop talking in riddles and just tell me what you're up to?
It's plain enough. We'll kidnap Margaret. That's to say, you'll kidnap Margaret while I distract Nicholas. If he wants to see her again, he won't have any choice.
Kidnapping? That doesn't seem like much of a way to clear your name.
No? Take a look around you, Henry. Sigismund kidnapped Wenceslas, his own brother. And Divish was abducted by Medek of Waldeck.
True, but Sigismund and Medek kidnapped the men they wanted to bargain with. You're thinking of taking a man's wife who's done nothing to deserve it.
And what of it? Those others did it for money or power. I'm doing it to redeem my honor. And since you mentioned Margaret, she's not all that innocent. I could have swung because of her.
But that confession's just a scrap of parchment with writing on it. What will happen to him after that?
That scrap of parchment is for Sir Divish and the provincial court. But we'll be generous to Nicholas and let him leave in peace before we deliver the confession to Talmberg.
So Nicholas will go free, and you'll clear your name?
Hopefully.
So what do I need to do?
I had Nicholas's prized hunting horn liberated. I'm sure Nicholas will recognize its sound from quite far off. I'll lure him out of the lodge at dawn.
And I'm meant to kidnap his wife while he's gone?
Of course, it would be best if she went with you voluntarily, but if not, you'll just have to drag her with you.
I think I'm going to enjoy it.
Don't get too excited. Margaret isn't to be harmed. Understand?
Of course.
When you get her, bring her here. Then we can decide what's next.
All right.
I've had enough of your shit. When I said clear off, I meant right now. Well, you won't forget this in a hurry, because it'll take a nice pile of coin to fix it. Surrender!
What hole did you crawl out of? You've no business here. What are you doing here? Get out right now, or I'll scream!
Scream if you like, but bear in mind, if that young lad comes running to help, I'll have to put a stop to him. So if you don't want him to get hurt, better do as you're told and come along nice and quietly with me.
I'll go with you. Just don't hurt me, please.
I've got no cause to hurt you. I want to ask you something first.
Ask away.
Why didn't you tell the truth back then? Hare was with you after the banquet.
I never wanted to marry him. But father insisted because Hare was of noble descent and his name meant something. That lie was the only way I could get rid of him.
Even though it meant condemning him to die?
Marrying him would have been a living death for me. I loved Nicholas, and I wanted nobody else. Can't you understand?
Yes, I understand. Do you know who actually did the deed?
No, and I don't think it was ever discovered. Once Hare disappeared, nobody bothered asking any more questions.
Come on, let's go.
Good work, Henry. Now we have to act fast and sort out Nicholas. Are you all right?
I have to say, that bitch could do with a taste of the whip.
Watch your mouth. She may not be my betrothed anymore, but that doesn't mean I'll stand here and let you insult her.
All right, I was just saying.
Well, don't.
I don't think about it much. What next?
Take this confession. Go to Nicholas and make him sign it before you tell him where Margaret is.
What if he refuses?
You'll have to make him, one way or another.
I'm not complaining, but couldn't you go to him yourself?
Believe me, I'd rather not drag you into it at all. But if Nicholas sees me, he'll go straight for my throat before I get a word in. The only way to avoid bloodshed is if you go.
I see. Yes, you're probably right. And what if he attacks me?
Then of course you'll have to defend yourself. If you knock some sense into him in a duel, all well and good, but don't forget we need him alive. So keep a cool head.
All right. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I'll get to it.
Here's the document. Don't forget to tell him he should get the hell out of Talmberg before we take it to the castle.
Where would I find you?
I'll wait for you in the clearing. Be quick. I don't want to keep poor Margaret here any longer than necessary.
I understand.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Are you blind? For Christ's sakes, there's people walking here! Have you seen my wife, Margaret? I'm sure something must have happened to her. I can't find her anywhere.
Yes, I've seen her.
Speak, where is she?
Hannikin Hare is holding her captive.
How do you know that?
makes no odds. Just listen to me.
What, you whoreson? Tell me where she is right now, or you'll rue the day.
Bluster all you want, but if you ever want to see Margaret again, you better get a grip on yourself.
Where is she? Tell me!
Yeah, you scratch my back, and I'll scratch yours. Sign this parchment here, and I'll tell you what you want to know.
I, Nicholas Angel, do hereby confess... Conspiracy against Sir Hannikin Hare? Just in proper punishment? What? You must be out of your fucking mind! Never!
Have you no honor at all? You almost sent an innocent man to his death on account of a woman, and now justice has finally caught up with you. So face it like a man.
Justice? What's all this about justice? Come to that, who are you, really? Why, you probably weren't even a glint in your father's eye when it all happened, and you want to judge me?
Merciful justice. If you sign this, Sir Hannikin will give you a head start. You and your wife could be long gone before Divish learns what you did.
I take it there's no other option.
None. But the deal could have been far worse. You can trade your good name for a happy life with your wife.
There. Now tell me where my wife is.
There's an old mine gallery, a little to the south of here. Margaret is in there, alive and well.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, have you got it?
It's done. He signed it.
Voluntarily.
Yes. More or less.
Well, I'm glad it's been done without bloodshed.
What now? Will you take the confession to Talmberg?
We'll go together. I need you to bear witness. I've been gone for years, and I'm not sure they'll take my word for anything.
Well, I hope they do believe you. Otherwise, we're both for the noose.
Don't worry. Divish won't forget our former friendship so easily. Are you ready to go?
Anakin Hare. I never expected to see you again.
It was the will of God that I returned.
You realize that Sir Henry of Lipa has never repealed his sentence against you. I'm duty-bound to arrest you and turn you over to the provincial court.
Perhaps. But will you read this first? Henry here is my witness that your master huntsman Nicholas signed it himself. This ought to change their minds.
It might. I'm sorry, Anakin. I always trusted you. But your guilt seemed irrefutable. Nicholas was very thorough. Oh, there's no doubting his own confession. Captain,
Yes, sir.
have the Master Huntsman arrested.
That won't be necessary. I don't think they'll find him.
I understand. So, what's to be done with you now? Poaching and kidnapping the Master Huntsman's wife. You see my difficulty.
I know. I can't stay here. It's enough to know my name is cleared.
I'll have a letter drawn up to recommend you to the service of Sir Vincent at Vellish Castle.
Thank you, sir.
But if Nicholas has vanished and we're sending you to Vellish, then who's going to be my master hunter here?
There's one obvious candidate. Henry here. Help me bring Nicholas to justice. And he's no disgrace as a hunter.
Really? Well, what of it, young man?
It would be an honor, sir.
Good, good. Then I hereby name you Master Huntsman at Talmberg Castle. My Chamberlain will tell you more about your new responsibilities. Good luck to you, Hannigan.
Thank you, Henry. I could never have managed it without you. God willing, we'll meet again one day.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
God save Master Chamberlain. Here I am.
So I see. And what do you want from me?
I'm the new Master Huntsman. I was told to report to you.
Aha, yes, yes. That whole business with Nicholas was, how shall I put it, rather unfortunate. Well, I won't keep you with the lamentations of an old man. Now, to your new duties. You're to supply the castle kitchen with game and protect the woods from poachers. Although there shouldn't be too many of those now.
No, I expect not. And when shall I start?
Right away. Sir Divish is planning to hold a banquet soon, and he wants venison for it.
All right, I'll get going right away.
By the way, the master huntsman should get a hunting bow and appropriate livery. You'll find everything in the lodge, which is also yours for as long as you hold the office.
I see. That's good news.
Yes, yes. Nothing but good news. Run along now. Take care.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.